Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to request you all to kindly put your hands together and help me to welcome our next speaker on the stage, that is Mr. Sanjay Sahay. May I request you, sir, to kindly join us at the dais.
Good morning, everybody. All of you are live and kicking. Great. I'm very happy to be on stage after nearly 2 years. And only one physical occasion I got was a couple of months back in Hotel Atria, which was a CFO's conference on post-pandemic financial recovery. I think from that topic to this topic, I think two different worlds. So currently we live in what we call as the digital immersion age. And where are we going to? From the digital immersion age and the digital transformation which happened because of COVID and not because of the IT companies. Correct. Now having reached the digital immersion age and not ready to retrace our steps back, where are we heading for? Any idea? I'll keep you engaged. Lunch is still a long way off. Correct. So we are moving to Web 3.0, we are moving to Metaverse. So this is the complexity of the emerging technologies which we have been talking about at the outset. Conventionally, traditionally, by a manner of etiquette. So first and foremost, I thank Sushovan Mukherjee for having invited me. And in my present avatar, after leaving IPS 2 years back, is my business associate as well. So I thank InfoSec Foundation for giving me the opportunity to be amongst you and for finding my habitat back. That is the stage. Okay. So that is where it is, and I'm extremely happy to be with Mr. Sanjay Kumar Das, who belongs to the West Bengal Civil Service and been doing yeoman service in the field of IT, and he has lots of accomplishment, lots of degrees also below his belt. I carry my only degree, which is MA History, way back in 1987. I'm also thrilled to be with Mr. Joseph Abraham, who comes from a very multi-national environment and has been in the diplomatic service. And if I remember correctly, many years back when the WikiLeaks happened and diplomatic cables of US came into the public domain, so there was a comment that these diplomats, they have been a loss to the literary world. So this is what diplomats are and what they carry on the grey head over their mostly fragile shoulders, because they are not into physical activity most of the time. So this is the background which I have created for today's keynote address. I was hoping that I don't get into the keynote mode. And only last evening Sushovan told me, no sir, you will have to give the keynote address. And this morning I got up at 5 o'clock and I thought I should do a bit of a legwork, having lost my speaking balance for say around last 2 years, but for a couple of online appearances, which has been commercially very fine, but I don't think it has been intellectually or from a interpersonal point of view been very satisfying. So we start with what is this Multi-City Cybersecurity Congress 2022, and I'm thankful to all of you on behalf of Sushoban, on behalf of myself in my present avatar as the founder director of TechOn Pro Private Limited. I belong to the 1989 batch of the IPS and 1988 batch of the Indian Customs and Customs and Central Excise Service then. Now it is GST and Customs. And I moved out on VRS in March 2021, 16th of 2020, 16th of March last year we incorporated this company, and currently we are working in a variety of areas, primarily with the big corporates of this country. So we move ahead, that is a different author, this is a different author. I keep all these things independent of each other and conspicuously independent of each other. So what is the new normal of the cyber security? So we have been talking about cyber security, and cyber security. What is this cyber security all about, and why cyber security is literally hitting at our existence today? You cannot exist without knowing, understanding cyber security. Otherwise, you literally move out of business. You would have heard of colonial pipelines, you would have heard of solar winds, you would have heard on JBS, you would have heard of a variety of things. And I think those things basically force you to believe that somehow cybersecurity has become the operational system of cyber, which is the operational system of the world. It's like the critical infrastructure and the information critical infrastructure behind that critical infrastructure. So, cyber is the operational system of the world, and behind this operational system of the world, to make it run fine, is the cyber security operational system of this world. Have you felt cyber insecurity ever? So, this is a lecture primarily on cyber insecurity rather than cyber security. Correct. Have you felt cyber insecurity ever? I presume most of you are cyber security professionals, and you have been trying to, like doctors, heal people who are afflicted by the cyber security disease. But as cyber security professionals, have you ever felt cyber insecurity? Yes or no? So you have felt cyber insecurity. Can I tell you, if I ask you on an index of 1 to 10, what will be, any numbers? 9. 10. 10 is high. Yes, highest. You can cross 10. There are lots of exams in this country where people have scored more than 100%. It ended up in inquiry, investigation, and variety of other things. That's a different story altogether. Correct. So what is the number we should give on 0 to 10 scale? So we give 10. Okay, might be by the time we finish the lecture, like irregularities in the Indian examination system, it might cross 10 also. We have absolutely no idea. So can we fathom out the challenge? So it is 10 on 10. But are we able to make out as to why we are giving 10? Or it is all perception, imagination, and what is being drilled in you day in and day out? What we call CNN as the crime news network, so something of that nature, or social media, variety of stuff for propaganda, for the cyber security companies, who knows? GDPR, this, that, all sorts of stuff which is moving all around the place, which has actually nothing has impacted you. Literally nothing has impacted you. Today also, password is the #1 password in the world, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Today also, as it stands now. Okay, can we fathom out the challenge, or have we been able to fathom out the challenge? Yes or no? Yes. Who has been able to fathom out the challenge? Can you please tell me how you have been able to fathom out the challenge and what is your response to it? Anyway, so that I'll leave it for your keynote whenever it happens. Okay, so we move further. So today, that whole system of virtual, digital, all that is completely demolished, finished. It is one world, facilitated by IT. It's one single world. So it's not that we are in a virtual world. If you lose on, say, 100,000 rupees, correct, somebody hacks it off. Whether it is the real or it is digital. Everything is real. Your emotions are also real. If Facebook knows about you more than your spouse, so that is also real. If Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, they know how to hack Brexit, or how to hack US presidential elections, proven or unproven, in whichever manner. Correct. So that is where we stand. So it is a cyber physical world. It is one world. We can call it as the world the way it has remained. It cannot be like e-governance. Governance has to be propelled by electronic means, digital means. You cannot say this is e-governance and rest is some other governance. Something else is some other governance. Something is social governance. Something is digital. Something is virtual. Something is economic. It is the same life which you have to address. There is absolutely no two different lives. Though it does not happen that way. So where we have reached and from where we have come. We have come from curiosity. So this tech, young guys from colleges, schools and all that. So they offer a challenge, and they offer a challenge, and then they say, Facebook, okay, this is your vulnerability. From there we started, we moved to revenge, we went to monetary gain, espionage, political activism, national security, and beyond. We live in a corporate military governance complex, that is internet. Corporate military internet complex. Democratization of data was what we were promised by the people who started internet. And if one thing which you don't have on the internet today is democratization of data. That is for sure. So this is the journey which we have traversed in last 20, 25 years, and we are on the cusp of Web 3.0. We are at the cusp of Metaverse. We are at the cusp of everything which we don't know. And we try to give an impression that we know. We have not even known the way the rug is pulled up below our feet by Googles and Facebooks and variety of such IT behemoths. But we believe that we understand Metaverse, Web 3.0 is like this. Somebody picks up some distributed ledger somewhere, all sorts of variety of things. But you ask them to give some hands on anything, you will not find it. So we will move further. And how big is this company? And this is the old data, this is not a new data. How big is the company? So this is, you can call it as the real crime incorporated. Even the biggest of your crime syndicates will not reach anywhere near. You will very rarely be able to get a case in the history of criminal world, and I have been in this trade for nearly 31 years before I quit, where there is $100 million theft, or there is an attempt for $1 billion theft. And that attempt happened in 2016 with the Central Bank of Bangladesh, which is known as the Bank of Bangladesh. Can you ever imagine somebody picking up $1 billion in cash from anywhere? Correct. Even an attempt. If you see some 30, 40, 50 crores coming out of some beautiful houses in this country, you're so amazed, oh, so much of money, so much of money. This fellow is swindling off hundreds and millions of dollars and nobody says anything. Or somebody is swindling your data and creating a company of $500, $600, $7 billion. And presumably, we have more data than that and we invest money to run and maintain that data. Whereas that fellow is having $500 billion worth of business out of that data. And who is the owner of that data? Who is the owner of the data? Then, so you are digital coolies. Working for somebody else. Not even coolies. You are bonded labor. You are slaves. Digital slaves. So that is where you are. An average person in the US, number of legal agreements which he signs. Number of legal agreements which he signs is just that there is no digital signature or the physical signature. He says, I agree or I consent. Only to read that many documents, he will take 24 hours for 74 days only to read without understanding. Correct? And the font size is 4 and 3, which you will not get anywhere else in this world. And last they will write it is at your own risk. Correct. So we move further. This is there. I think all of you would have read it so far. So we have reached a place where it is a platform criminality. As you call as aggregation, collaborator, multi-sided market, Airbnb, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Microsoft has 400,000 associates over the face of this earth, and very proudly Satya Nadella claims that for every $1 which is earned by Microsoft, the $9 which is created for the associate ecosystem, and same thing happens for Jeff Bezos. So somebody said you have created this sort of a wealth for yourself. He says, I get only 1/8 part of whatever the wealth I've created. So I've created the wealth for the world. So that is their thought process. In the very same manner, you have a platform criminality which is operating. As we move further, we will realize how ransomware is being dealt in this world, and it is being dealt in a much more professional manner than any business, any economy, anything in this world. And completely unabated, unchecked, relentless, ceaseless, beyond all levels of nation state, law, investigation, literally anything and everything. You are there stark stripped. That is there. But cybersecurity tools will also sell. Data protection acts will also happen. GDPRs will also be there. Legal citations will also happen. Everything. All path-breaking things will keep on happening. But the cybersecurity gangs, and today it is precisely the ransomware gangs, they will keep calling the shots. They will be unknown, nowhere, busted by Russia, busted by US, and still will appear in Guwahati. Correct? Revil was busted by Russia on the desperation of US on 22nd of January 2022. Dates also provided by the government of Russia. And somewhere in April or May, regional headquarters of Indian Oil was attacked by the same group. R capital, E capital, VIL. Correct? We move further. I think you could have got a fair idea. Now we have been listening about money laundering and all that. I think all of you, by now you know what is money laundering. And all of you know it has nothing to do with the Smart Topi app. Correct. So, you know money laundering. So now the point is, the money is being laundered where? And everybody thought that once the digital world happens, it will become very transparent, very this thing, you can control. It has happened exactly the opposite. It has happened exactly the opposite. So we don't get into all these intricacies, we move further. So these are the rates which are available. These rates are available. If any of you have a technical competence of giving me an exploit on iOS, I will be richer by $2 million by the end of the day. Correct? There will be any number of takers. 20% of all investment in cybersecurity goes to Mr. Abraham's country. Good business. There's absolutely no denying the fact. But the point is to make a very value-based judgment as to how much we have progressed, in which manner, what we have controlled. I think that is a very, very different sort of a proposition which I will never try to attempt. My whole understanding as a thought leader, as a person who has been practicing cybersecurity, been in governance, policing and a variety of areas, and presently as my author as a tech entrepreneur, is to understand from a very geostationary point of view, is the gap maintained or the gap is widening between the victim and the accused? Or we have reached the stage where it is not only attribution which we don't know, but post-attribution, we will not be able to reach wherever we intend to, and clear-cut. There can be example, you say the US government. So they were able to pinpoint that the 11 people from GRU, which were a part of this whole hacking business, whatever finally impacted, not impacted, we don't know. But nothing happened beyond that. Correct? So this is where we are. Everything is available. 97% of the Fortune 500 companies have been hacked. What about the other 3%? What about the other 3%? They have been hacked, but they don't know that they have been hacked. So they are in a more pathetic situation. Correct? So currently, we are at a level back it doesn't go. Yeah. No, it's hacked also, there's no problem. So I'll say you go into the deep web and you can get my PPD. So there is no problem. So okay, so here we are. So this is here we are. So the the game is that getting hacked is the new normal. He was talking about cybersecurity, new normal and variety of other things. For me, this is the new normal. The new normal also proclaims. What does it proclaim? What does new normal proclaim? New normal proclaims that besides your CIA triad, which all of you know, I'll not be getting into explaining what is CIA triad, at the base of the CIA triad should be resilience. Should be resilience. However much prevention you can do, you will get hacked. If you get hacked, what is the turnaround time to bring at least the skeletal services of your business, of your government, of whatever you do, to a functional state? Businesses and governance also as a business works on credibility of providing those services at whatever time, whatever terms and agreement, which you have been talking about. So this is where we are. So 97% you know, 3% also I told you, and you can carry that story wherever you feel like. I don't have any copyright to it. So that's perfectly fine. And who is doing it? You say every day there is a new technology, every day this is there, that is there. But how is it happening? Somebody is able to send a phishing mail, that fellow clicks it, this fellow remains in the system and is able to blast 4 blast furnaces in 2016 of German steel. Correct. So 42% is misfigured system or application, 6% is vulnerable code, 31% end user error, 6% targeted attack exploit, and 15% undetermined. So when we can control 70, 80, 85% of it, why are we not doing it? When Sony Productions was attacked, I think in the year 2014, and that was the second or third attack on Sony group of companies, they were able to lay their hands on one Excel sheet. And that Excel sheet had 63 passwords in plain text. So a criminal comes outside my house, oh, it's a nice looking house, and he wants to pluck a couple of flowers. So flowers are also beautiful. Then I go out and tell him, no man, come inside, I have some gold also, I have some diamond, I have everything. Please take everything and go. So this is precisely what happened. And it was, the attack was propagated by North Korea, as the story goes. And instead of Sony Productions releasing a movie every Tuesday, North Korea Productions was releasing a movie every Tuesday. So this is where we are. And then you talk, we are this safe, we are that safe. So we have absolutely no idea. Audit and all that is a different story altogether. Those things will also come. So where we are, what is this? You have been asking, or that is the theme of this whole thing, that what age are we in, what are the emerging technologies, at what pace it is happening, how well we can control, we cannot control. So the technology is being unleashed by somebody else. Technology is being picked up by somebody else for commercial reasons. My son who works for Google Cloud, however much I will tell him about cybersecurity, he says, no, it's fine, as long as I'm able to push my code, I'm fine. So that's the end of the story. Till today, secure software development life cycle is an enigma. It's a mirage. That is where we stand. I don't think any software code or development has ever been stopped because of security reasons. There is nowhere where security is as a matter of design, either in the software code or in the hardware. This is where we are. And there are a couple of things which come by default. I think the recent of this Microsoft operating system, there's something, if you don't plug, anybody can enter. And that happened with a couple of online examination systems in this country. That is where we are. So security requirements have grown differently. It has grown exponentially, and everything is at risk. That is where we are. Are we aware of our requirements? Have we mapped? Do we have a game plan? Do we have resources to support? Or for the last 22 years, which I have seen, that we go for classes of this nature and lectures of this nature and awareness programs and all that, and end up with cocktails by the end of the program, and that is the end of the story, waiting for another cocktail. Correct. So this is the exponential age. What do you understand by exponential age? Somebody will say geometric progression, some this, that, all that. What do you understand by, what you understand by an exponential age is that in 1998, Nokia had 85% of the photography market in this world. And 2001, they were wiped out. That is exponential change. Wiped out by whom? Can you tell me wiped out by whom? They were wiped out by a product which is their invention. That is digital camera in 1975. But when it was growing from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, you did not realize that it is taking you over. So here I bring in, I'm not carrying that photograph today, but here I bring in which I call as the lily pool story. So there is a pool full of lilies. It is the 30th day. On the 29th day, it was 1 by 2. On the 28th day, it was 1 by 4. On the 27th day, it was 1 by 8. On the 26th day, it was 1 by 16. And on the 25th day, it was 1 by 32. Could you have ever imagined on the 25th day that 5 years down the line, because of the exponential change which is happening, it will cover the whole pool? You would have never imagined, right? So this is where we are. So this is the risk. And what is the breach to detection time? I spent all my life in the police. Detection means that you are able to nab the criminal, you are able to get the property, you are able to get the body. So all the physical stuff is in place, all the attribution is in place. Crime to criminal is the first thing which we are taught, and the evidence thereof. In cybercrime, there is nobody who talks about seizure or arrest. Detection means only knowing that the crime has happened. It's a crazy story. That is detection. 209 days was the crime to breach to detection time as authenticated by FireEye 4 or 5 years back. It would have come to some 182 days or something. Correct. In the case of recent, last year, SolarWinds, those fellows were there for 8 to 9 months. SolarWinds has, I think, 300 or 400 of the Fortune 500 companies as its clients, inclusive of Department of Homeland Security, Justice, this, that, anything. And SolarWinds happened to be only one part of a bigger game plan against the whole of government of US. Correct. What happened to the fellows who were behind the SolarWinds attack? Correct. This is another story. The Target CEO had to face it, I think, 6-7 years back. So they say, what is the return on investment? See, the biggest challenge with cybersecurity is that there is no management buy-in. There is no management buy-in. Even today, there is no management buy-in. And by management buy-in, I don't only mean the private companies, multinationals or whatever. There is no government buy-in also. So government also, if you treat it at the level of the management, wherein the way you run your company, the same way you are running India Incorporated or you are running whichever country incorporated, so that buy-in is not there. So if you get into the return on investment, the only thing which will happen to you is decimation and nothing else. That's the only thing which will happen to you, and more often than not, you and the criminal will be living under the same roof in the same bedroom, and you will not realize that there is a criminal with you. That has been proven over and over and over again. In cyber security, there is no honeymoon. It starts with divorce proceedings. That is the cyber security marriage. Let's make it very, very clear. I think most of these analogies, when we talk, it will remain in your head for at least couple of months or couple of years or whatever. Anything which you are taught on the academic side, our upbringing, our experience through the academic process is that we should forget as soon as the exam is over. And we should desperately try and forget. And after the exam, if you are studying, parents will say, "Arey, kya dimag kharab ho gaya? Ab kyun pad raha? Ho gaya na kam." So that kam and tamam, eradu onde sari agbidutte. So that is the story. So where we are going? Are we ready for that? You see, Web 1.0, Web 2.0, Web 3.0. How many of us can understand distributed ledger? How many of us can understand decentralized architecture? And I'm only talking about the practitioners who are in business and who are making huge amount of money. We are not talking about the customers, we are not talking about the victims, we are not talking about the common masses, we are talking only about the practitioners. I can say you with all humility, there was an organization, pretty big public sector undertaking, they were looking for a person who could speak for 9-10 minutes on Metaverse. They could not find anybody. So that was a business opportunity for me. I delivered a lecture for 90 minutes on Metaverse. So there's a different story altogether. But who is ready to both practice, stick his neck out, read 5-6 lakh pages in last couple of years, which also corresponds to management governance, because cyber security cannot stand in thin air. It cannot be a Trishanku. I am not a cyber security person. By academics, I am a history postgraduate. By profession, I am a police officer. That is where I am. And by actual practice of technology, I have started with ERP. I have started with networking, data center, private cloud, capacity building. This is something which came over it. Correct. If you start furnishing your house, even before the skeleton is ready, what will you furnish? Correct. And if you have a house which has no doors, windows, anything, then how do you furnish this house? You can put best of the things, whatever you do. So where all technologies converge. We're talking about emerging technology. Now, emerging technology is a bygone word. That is there right in your heart. That is there in your living room. That is there what all your Siri and all these people are doing. You try and go for a search, and then you see you get a phone call just the other second. So that is where we are. So all these emerging technologies, AI, ML, that is a part of your life. You realize as early as you can. That is life. 74.6% in an IDC survey pre-COVID, they did not want to move on to the cloud. Within 6 months of COVID, everybody was on the cloud. Either you are in cloud or you are under the earth. There is no other way out. You decide where you want to be, where your address should be. Either on the cloud or under some burial ground or a funeral place. So that is your take, and this is what is Metaverse. You see the complexity of the whole game. If we are so badly stripped today, when we are operating at Web 2.0, what will happen when all these things will come? 5G is around the corner. What is our preparedness for 5G? I am sure that the cybersecurity fellows or the hackers will be getting ready for 5G. Under which tower I should sit and I should do this and I'll hack your place. By the time the government reacts, you react, anybody else reacts, because you need your weekend. That fellow doesn't need a weekend. You need a weekend, you have a family, you have he time, she time, home time, this time. You keep doing anything, whatever you want, you keep doing. He will do whatever he wants. He will stop colonial pipelines. Then you enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Our commitment to security has been not even a lip service. If it is a lip service, then you get another 4 or 5 speakers in this country who can do even lip service the way I am doing. Let him put 10, 12 years into this. Both from practice, from knowledge, from understanding, to thinking, to writing, to speaking. Let him come. Even if it is a lip service, it's fine, there's no problem. Even that is not there. So this is where we are. This all of you know. It remained in the wild for how many years? This is still in open source. This is still in open source. You can pick it up and you have the capability of little bit of script writing. You can put it across any critical infrastructure across the face of this earth. 50,000 lines of coding, most exceptional coding. This is the 9/11 of cybersecurity. This changed the whole concept of cybersecurity, followed by Edward Snowden. So this is again the government involvement. We'll not get into the countries. Again that Edward Snowden, the same story. So we go further. So this is the kaleidoscope of where we are. You have seen all these characters. So you have gangs, you have state actors. You also have your ransomware. So this is cybersecurity. Emerging today, non-emerging, past, present, future. This is cybersecurity. And what it finally says, that nothing is certain except death, taxes, and cyber hack. Only 3 things are fixed in this world. So you have an incident response plan ready. Even during the course of COVID, there's only 33% or 32% of the best of the companies in best of the countries who had a cyber contingency plan. Correct? Not that they have gone to the winds or the security. Now, at the risk, who is there? We are at risk. It is not the company data, it is our data. So we are at risk. And a variety of things which are happening on a daily basis. And I am convinced of the fact that at least half of the population of this, even this developing country, somewhere or the other, have faced music because of cybersecurity. You just see the loan apps now. And in India, I think the most illiterate of people, like what was there, Jamtara or something. And then somebody told me, I worked in United Nations in Yugoslavia at the time of the transition. So that particular point in time, we were in a place called Pristina in Kosovo. of the erstwhile Yugoslavia. And that particular point in time, these guys have picked up all this trade and they're making huge money with the low-end cybercrime hacking and all that. This was another case where the government, it went off and finally Apple had its say. And there was this company called Cellbrite. Cellbrite did whatever they did in the Indian Jugaad style and they were able to recover data with whatever script they wrote. And that same script was again hacked by some other company just after 1 month. Now, what that script would have done to iPhones across the globe, we have absolutely no idea. So it goes on. 256-bit encryption, what will you do? Which country has the capability to ban? Which country has the capability to ban a 256-bit encryption? And which company has the capability to crack 256-bit encryption? So you are fighting this battle with your hands and legs both tied at the same time. The only way out is the strong legal position where it turns out to be a deterrence. There is no other way out. Technically, you will not be able to do. Because the people who are supposed to come to your rescue are the people who are actually making huge amount of money out of this trade. So why should they come to you? I cannot close a $1 trillion company for you. So people say the business model, the data model of Facebook is not good, it should be like this. But that is the data model. That is the model on which they have got $300, $500 billion. If they change that model, then what will be left? Nothing will be left. You read, you go through this movie called The Social Dilemma. You will realize what it is. All these things are in public domain. But like ostriches, if we try to put our heads in sand, I don't know where. I've been talking about for a long time, will not get into Cosmos Bank. So here say India, no hacking has happened, this thing has happened. Suffice to say, only through cloned credit cards and debit cards in a span of I think 3 or 4 hours, 13,000 transactions took place in 26 or 28 countries. Do you need a bigger cybercrime? And 2 days down the line, another 25, 30 crores through the SWIFT mechanism went to Hong Kong. So this is where we are. We go on. This is known as a waterhole attack. So they were not able to attack the banks. So they went to the banking authority, infected the banking authority. Every bank has to go to the banking authority for a variety of reasons. They infected most of the banks. So it goes on. This is Bangladesh. We'll not get into this. This is the way it happens. And just because there was a spelling mistake or there was some issue, that only $91 million were lost. Otherwise, it would have reached to the tune of $990 million. So that was those 34 transactions or whatever number of transactions. So this is the battle. So you say it's data, it is cyber, everything is data, no? What is not data? So this is the whole battle. We talk of GDPR. How much, Mr. Navi, the cybersecurity scenario has changed after GDPR? The challenge is that a lawyer says you mandate, there is a legal mandate, so it is sorted out. The technology says, boss, this is it is sorted out. It will never get sorted out. We live in an interdisciplinary world, and every professional in this world today, from an architect to a politician, needs minimum 50% of his professional domain or his professional knowledge or attributes or acumen has to be propelled by technology. Otherwise, it ceases to exist. If today an architect does not use CAD drawing, can he exist? But politicians exist, bureaucrats exist, and lots of other people exist, which actually is the nemesis of all of us. This is what the judgment came. Mr. Navi is very familiar with the judgment and he has been following it for the last 6, 7 years. Correct. What happened? The bill is withdrawn. They are going in for another comprehensive bill. Why we did not make a comprehensive bill in the first place? No. We had GDPR, we have other, some European, they're saying California Privacy Act, we have a variety of laws which are already there. So, we don't have a law which takes care of our fundamental right. Why do I make my cybersecurity keynote lectures, moderation, whatever it may be, as relevant as possible, as understandable as possible, in a governance and in a normal living mainstream sort of ecosystem, because you understand. Otherwise, you will go, oh, firewall, we want to buy FortiGate. This ID is this, IP is this. That's the end of the story. A road to nowhere. Where do we go? We have a fundamental right. Your data is yours. That's a fundamental right. Where is your data? Data today also is not an asset class. If you want to talk about the law, I can keep talking about the law till the time the cows come home. How does it connect? What does your IT Act support? Whether it supports your fundamental right to privacy. What does it support? So it goes on. And this is the real scourge which the world is facing. We'll pull it through. Hope I have not shot the overshot. Kitna time or? The hosts have also disappeared, I think. It is a normal situation in my lectures, right? So this is what ransomware is. When they come back, I'll ask them. So this is what ransomware is. This is where we are. 1/3 of all pandemic critical organizations suffered ransomware attack. This is where we are. And you say, no, my company has not suffered. You don't know. It is like this. See, I'll give a very known analogy of COVID-19 because all of us have gone through that. So one fellow got infected. So I asked him, because you got it tested. He said, no, I met the minister 3 days back. So if I get tested, I know it is COVID. Then I'll have to tell him, then it will become a big ruckus. So variety of things we have done to camouflage everything. And compliances are the best method of camouflaging everything. Leave aside cybersecurity. What happened to Satyam? Correct. Where has 9 lakh crores of this come? Out of the blue. Correct. So we go, this is the situation. And these are all public domain figures and there is absolutely nobody who is challenging these figures. So we presume it's true. This was a tool made for the US Navy. The onion router. Being used for all nefarious work. This was for democratic movements where the repressive regimes could not control. And this is the mode of payment. Correct. This goes on. Then you see the ransomware. This is the old report. Currently where we are, we don't know. WannaCry time. I'll only give you whatever has happened. WannaCry time, they said that India was not impacted. But no bank was digitally transacting for 10 days. All banks work on a centralized server. To put an update of a Microsoft patch, which was released on 19th of March 2017, and the patch was to be done on 3rd of June 2017 on a centralized server mechanism. To best of my little technical knowledge, biggest of the organization should not take more than 6 hours. Correct. So we go ahead. Now here also in your Petia, your Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust was impacted. There are lots of organizations which were impacted. Whether we make it open or not, the world is there to make it open. Correct. This is how the whole thing happens. And for simplicity purposes, we are not representing the kill switch mechanism. This is happening at the best of the places. I don't know which organization has done it, EC3, Europol, somebody. They also don't want to tell you about the killer switch mechanism or kill switch mechanism. So this is how the whole thing happens. This is what it has impacted within 24 hours. If today there is another virus of this nature, there is another ransomware attack of this nature, then what will happen? Long many years back there was a story, and I take it as true, though it was a story completely uncorroborated. If 25 top hackers in the world decide today to become a suicide squad, they will take control of the world. They will take control of the world. This is the guy. There is nobody in our whole mechanism of these great cybersecurity organizations, government governance, compliance, who can do huge amounts of investigation, literally anything and everything, who can even identify a kill switch. The hacker has given a kill switch because he does not want to take the damage beyond that, because that might lead to repercussions which is not beneficial for him or for his purpose. This kill switch was found by this guy. Otherwise, WannaCry could have taken the whole world. We still don't know. Might be this is also part of the same body exercise. Who knows? Correct. So this game goes on. We don't know. Then that time everybody said we have done the whole patch. 2 years after that, in 2019, it appeared in Baltimore. 1 million machines are in the wild in 2019. I'm talking about today. In only United States of America. which were not patched for that March 19 patch, whatever it was on the SMB and all that. No, the patch also testing your...
Whatever they are going to release, that patch is not tested properly.
No, that patch was whosoever put that patch and did their patch management, they did not face the music.
In that only there is again one more loophole.
No, there can be any number of loopholes. But you say I will not go to the hospital. And you say there are so many loopholes in the hospital. That is your take. Correct. So this is how it goes on. Here they paid. Government organization, local self-government, they paid. Here also they paid. $600,000. Government organization, democratic organization. Correct. It goes on. So this is the ISIS of the cyber world. Lazarus. Literally only financial organizations they track. They are not into any small stuff. This is their CV. None of our cybersecurity professionals can have a CV of this nature. Correct. That I stopped WannaCry, I stopped Petya, I stopped this. They don't have anything to claim or boast. They have absolutely nothing. They are making CVs for their next promotion or next engagement. $5,000 more, 10,000 rupees more. So little, or business class travel, 2 days more holidays. We are fighting a battle which is, I think, totally we have drifted from any level of expertise and professionalism. Absolutely zero. Absolutely zero. 4 years to track this guy, who they will never be able to catch. 4 years. Is our country ready to put, say, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million to get the name of a person who would finally not be caught? But the point is that exercise and that capability will help you in a variety of other ways, right? But if you don't get into that venture, if Christopher Columbus would have said there is no land beyond wherever he was, he would have never reached America, right? That is where it is. It is the explorer's journey. You have to be the first mover. The world is for you. Correct? So this is the gentleman. This is a cooperative. The world is a cooperative. What do we do? Nation state. This organization against that organization. That against this against that. You keep doing the whole day. Whether it's private sector, whether it's consultants, whether it's government, it is anything. It is turf war, turf war. As if we are fighting to win this whole world and become another Alexander the Great. It is our nemesis, it is everybody's nemesis. That is precisely what is happening. There is nobody today who is ready to spend even a couple of minutes on things which are actually plaguing his life. Things which are actually plaguing his life, but he does not know. He is going to going and buying gift that tomorrow he has to go to some nishchaya, some engagement, some birthday. That is the ultimate thing which is pretty hitting his mind. Or if you talk of the political class of which sammelan, which this thing, which shawl, which jola, we don't know. So that is the whole thing is going. So they have come together and this is the way they operate. We have been talking about colonial pipelines. 45% I think of the fuel runs on this particular system. See what happened to it. We don't need any fancy slides. No, we just need data. This is what happened to it. Whole country was crippled on one side. Correct. They ended up paying $500,000 if I'm not mistaken. Correct. This gentleman ended up paying some $11 million or something. Across the world. Correct. This is where it is. The cyber security firms are themselves getting hacked. That is the beauty of the situation. And we are not talking about those lesser mortals in India. We are talking about FireEye and beyond. We are talking about companies who run the world. You see this guy's clientele, you literally go mad. This Kasaya, the clientele. Correct. If you are not happy with this guy's clientele, you go through these figures. If you are not happy with this. Correct. It goes on and on. So this is my 2.5 hours of work this morning. to address you guys. And a narrative which is conspicuously mine. The figures might be anybody's. Correct. So this is where we are. This is where we are. In no office, in no meeting, in no group of professionals, but for goals, targets, quarterly results, nothing is being discussed. As if this quarterly result or 2 quarterly results will make them better than Revil or make them better than Lazarus. I don't know. Their battle is with Lazarus. Their battle is not with the customer. Customer buys any dabba which you give him because he doesn't have a choice. A fellow who is famished, whether you give him grain or you put him in a Ran Basera or you take him to ISKCON temple or we take him to some langar, it is all the same fine for him now. He doesn't have a choice. What choice does he have? The customers feel that they have all the choice. They have absolutely no choice. And there are compliances to meet. You also know. You know end of the financial year, you know fourth quarter, everything you know, but for what you are doing. But for what research a professor is doing, he knows everything in this world. So if you are not satisfied with Kasaya, you have SolarWinds. How did it happen? Those buggers were able to get into SolarWinds development process life cycle. And from one unit to second unit, after one level of development, it is sent to the other part. For whatever packaging, this, that, whatever authentication. At that point in time, somebody enters. Changes the whole thing. And the same thing goes as a legal patch, official patch. You take it and get unpatched. Correct. Department of Homeland Security. Leave it, no, anything else. That is I think the most commendable administrative achievement in the history of administration in the world, where 23 different departments and agencies were seamlessly merged. And that is how Department of Homeland Security was created. And today it happens to be the second most important department, I think, after the Secretary of State. You see the story. I thought there is no purpose in making any slide on this. I just picked it up from Wikipedia. Snipping tool. Sasta, Sundar or Tikau. Everything is there. So we thought it was only SolarWinds. Now the government itself says Microsoft Outlook web app, Microsoft supply chain attack, SolarWinds supply chain attack, Sunburst Trojan, VMware software bug, Zerologan software. Then what is left, man? It is like Gujarat and this thing, that patchwork, beautiful dresses are made, no? Correct. If you're left with, where does it come from? FireEye, world's #1 leading cybersecurity company. Next to follow will be Symantec, Checkpoint, Forcepoint. Correct. Nobody wants to disclose. If you get into the timelines of this, there will be certainly a gap of 2 to 3 months. Minimum 2 3 months. Not the breach and detection. After knowing. Yes. Uber disclosure. 3 or 4 months.
8 months for releasing the property.
Correct. So this is it. This is it. This is it. And the beauty of the investigation, leave aside Indian investigation, we will not talk about Indian investigation. When Silk Road was being investigated, there were 2 FBI agents who took, I think, 2,500 or something bitcoins, which came to $5 million. And because the Bitcoin transactions are immutable, so some suspect or some suspicion came up and they started finding out. And they could locate these 2 transactions. And with that John Pirate or whatever that fellow's name is, so with him, these 2 FBI agents are also, they are cooling their heels in the prison. Correct. So this is the moral of the story. The bad guys are smart, well equipped and determined. Now I leave it to the audience to take a call. We are in deep shit. There is no other language or no other word by which I can explain. There is no reason that the good guys can't be the same. And I treat Steve Jobs my role model. So I'll end up this, why I don't leave it to my extempore capabilities that I have written it once and I find it suitable for large number of audiences. So I'll read it out for you. As Steve Jobs said, we are at crossroads of technology and humanities. Technology is racing to become the mankind's DNA. Transformational changes demand transformational answers. Digital is the only way forward. What matters is grey matter in a knowledge-driven world. Together we can and together we will. Find a method in the digital madness. Thank you.
I think for that powerful presentation by Mr. Sanjay, he deserves another round of applause. Come on, everybody, put your hands up in the air. And with this, Mr. Sanjay, if I may request you to come for the inaugural session. This token is for the respect, and we appreciate for your presence here, sir, spending time with us at Cybersecurity Congress 2022.